Do you ever walk by a certain spot, and every time in that exact same area, you feel a certain foreboding? The air is always cold, and the light always seems to disappear. Well, I certainly would never want to walk by this man in the alcove. I was in my second year of college. It was the middle of the second semester, around March, I think. I had moved from the townhouses to the tower dorms because I was having some real difficulties with one of my roommates. I figured living by myself would cause less drama than living with 3 other girls. But as it turned out, I wasn't as alone in my new dorm as I thought I would be. I had lived in the towers before during my first year. The experience was next to identical. The room was exactly the same. The kind of people that lived there were exactly the same. The only real difference was that I was at the end of the hallway instead of next to the exit doors. Let's just say the hallway was just as creepy as it was during my first year. One major difference this time was the alcove. It was in the hallway and I had to walk by it every time I went to the washroom. I hated walking by that alcove. There was something really wrong about it. I'm not even sure why it was built. It just seemed to be a random indent in the wall. And no matter what time of day it was always pitch black in there. And no matter how warm it was, the air around it just seemed to stay frozen. And whenever I walked by it, I always had this feeling that someone was hiding in the shadows, watching me walk by. During the night in question, I was working on a project for class. It was another all too common late night. It had to be at least 1 o'clock in the morning, and my back was aching from crouching over my machine, so I stretched and I took a moment to look out the window. And I remember I could see my reflection very clearly when it all began. And then my reflection started to look strange. It was looking as if it was morphing and changing right in front of me. Thinking that my eyes were just too tired to see straight, I closed them and rubbed them hard. But when I opened them again, my reflection was replaced with the face of a wasted man staring into me. It could have been 10 seconds, it could have been 10 minutes, I have no idea. But then, just as quickly as it came, the reflection melted away back into my own face. When I finally gained control of my body and my mind, I jumped for my cell phone and immediately called my fiancé Dustin. I tried to describe it to him, but he didn't seem to understand, so I drew it for him and sent the picture. This was that picture. Thank you for listening to my story. I know I will remember it until I die, and maybe even when I become a ghost myself.